So Aquarius, you're getting the Lovers again. This is quite strange. It's been like 2 months in a row now, I believe. 2 months? Alright, so okay, so this is a very good spread. I'm sensing that it is a very, very good spread, and there's definitely a decision that you're making, or at least, you're trying your very, very hardest to balance out the emotional aspect and the rational aspect. So I'm getting the same message. Um, there is definitely a change though, because I do feel reciprocation coming through. So let's go over this situation. In the middle of the spread, we have the Hangman. And the Hangman indicates a card about suspension. It's about looking at things from a different perspective. It's about weighing out your options. And you're going to be able to figure out what the best course of action for you in the future if you can shift your paradigm, okay? And I know that you're showing up here as the Queen of Swords in the reverse position. This can be you, Aquarius, male or female. It's representative of an air sign, and it's gender neutral. What I'm sensing here is you're feeling as if you can't really rely on logic for the second half of this month. You're feeling as if you can't really, you don't know what to believe. You don't know what to believe. You don't know how to proceed with a certain decision. A lot of it has to do with love, because the advice here is the Lovers. But the Lovers is also about choices. So we're basically left with, what are we exactly dealing with here? So I'm tempted to believe that, when it comes to Aquarius, when it comes to simply love relationships, those are very easy decisions. And a lot of it has to do with just, not wanting to curb your freedom by engaging with this person in a love affair or even a long-term commitment. So what I'm sensing is whether or not you want a long-term commitment or whether you want a one-night stand. So I feel that that's what most of you are grappling with, or there are other, like more complicated restrictions upon the environment that you work in, which indicates to me that this is not a clear-cut, black or white type of decision. But I don't feel that, I know that a lot of you have somebody that you want, and you're pretty much, thinking to yourself that I'll take what I can get with this person, honestly. But the situation surrounding this is a little bit problematic. And I feel like it's external restrictions that are imposing all these limitations upon you, where you don't know what you should do, because Aquarius, and especially all air signs, I feel, always know what they want to do. And the only way that they're usually like upside down in their decision process is if they have restrictions that are external, because when you think about what you want to do, you always know what you want to do. But it's the situation surrounding you that might restrict your free will. So that's how I'm seeing it play out. And additionally, I can shorten this reading by just looking at these two cards. So the middle of the spread is the Hangman, and then you end up in the outcome position, the Queen of Swords. They're both reverse, which indicates to me do things differently. You have to do things in a different manner, and that's going to give you the result that you want. So don't be afraid to do things and looking at situations and, flip yourself upside down, looking at things from the other person's perspective. Because I know that, Aquarius, you tend to have a little bit of a tunnel vision when you are fixated on an idea, on a person, on a thing. You tend to go full blown and you charge ahead, kind of like with that Knight of Swords. So in this situation, you want to approach this with a little bit more sympathy, compassion, with a little bit more feelings, I would say. But before you even get there, my advice is to approach this from a different perspective. Okay, so for example, if you're dealing with somebody For example, this is just an example because I don't see it in this spread. But if you're involved with somebody, or if you like somebody who is, potentially married, you don't know, but if you're involved with somebody who is potentially married, and you're thinking that, oh, I don't know if he's married, but I think I'm going to ask him or her out on a date. Um, if you've got a good friendship going with them, then you have to really think about how your actions is going to affect them. So it might be that they would start feeling weird around you, and then it would ruin the friendship, for example. Or if you have a friend and you're both really, really close, and they're dating somebody that they have no business dating, and you feel like maybe I should chip in, give my 2 cents. But the thing is, the relationship is between your friend and whoever it is that they're dating. So even though you might have information, you want to really think about how the other person is affected, okay? So in a work environment, even as simple as, problem solving, this is approaching things from a totally different perspective from what you're used to. So you might have been, let's say, Orthodox Christian, and you're approaching life and situation in a series of events in a certain way. It's also important for you to also approach things from like the far left, for example, just to get that outsider's perspective, just to get a different point of view. And I feel that for a lot of you, if you're doing in a work environment, in a relationship, you really have to see how certain choices, certain things will affect a certain demographic group. So that's what I'm sensing here. Remove yourself from this situation and think about, don't treat yourself as one of the person involved in it. Take yourself out and just say, if A does this to B, how would this affect B? And how would this affect the dynamics between A and B? So treat yourself as an objective, think of yourself as a researcher and look at the situation, cause and effect, and also, remove yourself, your own biases from the situation. And in the decision-making process, that's what you have to do. That's what you really, really have to do. And you're still very stubborn, and I feel like you know this on an instinctual level, but you're still very stubborn because you have your eyes fixed on a certain outcome, okay? And unfortunately, once an air sign is, well, Aquarius, it's a fixed sign. Once you have your opinions made up, once you have a plan already drawn out, you rarely deviate from it. So I'm going to say this. Please take some time to draw out your plan, because once you get that plan laid out, you're very tunnel vision. So, get this down first before you proceed, because I feel like a lot of you are just like, in the process, the planning stages is when you're supposed to take everything into consideration. But I do feel that even in the planning stages, you're kind of overlooking a lot of things. So you're not seeing the whole spectrum, okay? So the advice definitely is look at the whole spectrum. Look at the whole spectrum before you make that choice. So even in the planning process, as painful as it is, consider opinions, repercussions, ramifications from both sides before you jump ahead with whatever it is that you've already made up your mind to think. So I'm saying this like in hindsight, because I feel like a lot of you are just going to go forward anyways. And you're lucky because you have good outcome. But, just in case you're wondering why you have to stop and take a second look, well, I'm going to explain the rest of the spread, but rest assured that between now and whenever you make the decision, you have a good outcome, but there are other things that you have to consider, because we don't always live in a bubble. No man's an island. Our decisions have long-term ramifications. So this is something you want to be aware of, okay? So let's go over this spread. So there is definitely a situation here where you have to see things from other people's perspective. And being the eccentric soul that you are, you're taking this approach instead, which is the Seven of Cups, where you're kind of like going against the tide and you're trying to create a diversion or even to stir up some type of controversy just to get a kick out of it. So that's why I would say that, why are you exactly doing this? And what exactly is the impetus or, the end goal for kicking up this dust storm, okay? Um, Other people look at this card and they usually think of it as a card of defense. It can go both ways. It's when you have a good idea. It's a card of valor actually in the Rider-Waite deck. So oftentimes you have a very, very good idea and other people are not receptive to the idea, so you have to defend yourself. Or you have a really bad idea and other people are not supportive of it, so you have to defend yourself. So depending on what side of the coin you're on, it's really important to think about your idea. Just really think about it, okay? Because the hangman here this is not a card of execution. What I mean is not a physical execution, but this is not a card of executing your plans because you haven't done all the 360 research yet. You don't know all the angles that this can go. You don't know all the different directions that this can go. So you're kind of premature here, okay? So in the past position, we have the Six of Wands, which indicates a major, major victory, getting the recognition, getting the accolades, and getting, the congratulations for your skills, for your accomplishment. So you're kind of riding high, and as a result of this, you feel a little bit invincible, okay? And that's the danger that's coming through. I don't feel any Ten of Swords, any Tower, anything that's going to knock you down from this position. But I definitely feel a little bit of, just a little bit, sorry Aquarius, just a little bit of arrogance coming through. So you want to really be careful for this rest of this month, okay? Having said that, crowning you here is the Six of Swords, which indicates, traveling from a troublesome situation where despite whatever was thrown at you, you came out victorious. And as a result of that, you became a lot stronger, a lot more resilient, and you feel that, it's sort of like bring it on. I have been through so much, so I am going to be able to tackle whatever life throws at me. So bring it on. So that's what you're at right now. That's where you're at right now. But I just want you to also keep in mind that when somebody is like jumping from one difficult situation, they survive it and they're going to the next. They energetically they get burned out. Recuperation before you go off on your next adventure, okay? Because this is telling me that you are in calmer water now and you don't have to fight anymore. So let the hostility go and let the resentment go, okay? Look at things from whatever situation, whoever has caused this situation, you really want to look at it from a more neutral, from a less hostile perspective because you're in a safe place now. You found your refuge. It's time for you to unpack and settle down for a little bit, for a while, so that you're not in survival mode, I guess. What's coming? Well, let's do the foundation of this reading here. The base of this reading, something in your environment that you're not aware of. We have the Four of Cups, and when I see this, I do feel that it is, energetic, emotional, and spiritual depletion, okay? So my advice is take it slow because this is the base of the situation. There are a lot of gifts that are given to you, and there are a lot of support coming through for you. So the people the people that you feel are giving you all these, critiques and unnecessary criticisms or just, people you feel have been giving you a hard time. I do sense that it's mainly because of your own sense of insecurity It's also your own sense of like the overall way that you look at life, because you want to stand out, you want to be eccentric. But I don't feel they're there to hurt you. I feel like they're giving you constructive feedback because they're afraid that you are a little bit too tunnel vision. Just as I am saying this now, I'm feeling like I am a part of this crowd, and you're just like, no, I've got my mind made up and I'm going to go ahead with it. But it's really important as a team player to look at other people's, or to at least take into account what other people have to say and think about what it is that they're saying. Um, I also feel, by sometime for the next 2 weeks, a lot of you might be in the spotlight, okay? And you're going to be very well received. So the best way for you to do that is to play nice. I feel that it's going to, you want to attract with honey. So that's what I'm sensing. So it looks very, very good overall. But my advice still for you Aquarius is just to, take it easy. Take it easy, and, try to be a little bit more diplomatic is my advice. In terms of what's coming in for you, this is the short-term influence. We have the Two of Coins, okay? And once again, this is a card of time management. And in the reverse position, it does indicate to me that you want to. It seems like you have a lot of things that you need to do. You also have a lot of opposition, or what you perceive to be people who might be out to get you, but they're actually trying to help you, and they're also trying to refine the way that you think. And you feel that, okay, if I were to make a unilateral decision where I'm the only one making the decision, things are going to get streamlined. I can get everything done in a timely manner, and I don't have to waste time with time constraints. I don't have to worry about time constraints, excuse me. But the thing is, if you are supposed to collaborate with other people and you do things without consulting them, then you're going to have to go back and redo them with their input. So think about, cause and effect here. Think about what is worth it, and if there are that many time, if there are that much, if there is that much time constraints imposed upon you, then you might need some help. Okay, so let people help you and ask for help. Ask for help. It seems to me with the Hangman, like your hands are tied, and then you're trying to juggle two things, and it's like if you're already stretched out very, very thin, and you're in a safe place where you don't have to fight, and you're trying to tack on more things, it just doesn't make sense. Okay, so the Hangman, he's also juggling, this guy is also juggling, and then you have the Four of Cups, where there are four items on your plate, and you feel very spiritually and emotionally just drained. Okay, so just take it easy. Take it easy, Aquarius. Try to minimize your obligations, delegate, ask for help. If something is unmanageable, yeah, I'm sensing an element of four. So it could be, two jobs, school, significant other. It could be, four projects, four job interviews, four presentations, something like that. I'm sensing an element of four. And you're a little bit de depleted, okay? The advice here, we have the Lovers, and the Lovers is about two. So I would say whatever your workload is, whatever your load is, you're going to have to cut it off by two. I feel like there are two things that you're not going to be able to do. So there are two things that you are not going to be able to do. If you want to do them all well, then there are two things that you're going to have to cut corners on, or you're just going to have to drop altogether because you're not going to be able to do them, okay? So don't overload yourself. Once again, that's the initial advice. However, this is also a card about love. It's a card about romance. And going back to the initial examples I was using, if you are thinking about a person that you really, really care about, and I do feel that, it's in the upright position, this can just be a long-term romantic situation where things are all, rainbow and lollipops. Or it can be a situation where you might have like a physical relationship with them, which is not built on love. I'm not getting cup cards except the Six of Cups as the outcome. So this is a contentious situation, and depending on how you feel, well, you have very, very positive feelings about this person. And I do feel that there is a person that you are interested in that everyone around you is telling you no, is what I'm sensing, but you're still going to go ahead with it. For those of you who are still debating whether or not you should go ahead with this, I feel that by the end of the month, you're still going to go ahead with it, mainly because other people are contradicting you. And when Aquarius gets contradicted, you want to break out of the norm. You want to pursue your actions even more, which is, be smart about this. So there is definitely I feel like it's a good relationship, but there are external constraints, okay? So either the person is in a work environment and you're not supposed to date them. Either there is like they could be married, they could be attached. I don't feel that they're attached or married in this spread. I definitely don't feel that. I don't sense infidelity or anything like that associated with this spread because we don't have a bunch of people coming in. So I don't sense that, but I do feel, first of all, there's time constraints on your end, so it's not fair for you to take this person on board and not have the time for them. So that's another thing. Secondly, I feel like everyone around you is opposing this union. Everyone around you would be up in arms if this union were to happen. So that's another thing I'm sensing, and I don't know why that is. It could be you're just dating somebody that your loved ones are saying, no, he's not the right one or she's not the right one, and things like that. And or it could be, you've been through a lot in the past and you've conquered it all and you feel very victorious and invincible and you feel like I can take this, this is not a problem. And my advice is that when we get too arrogant, when we get too cocky, life has interesting ways of humbling us, okay? So I want you to just think about that in the long run. What is it that you're trying to achieve, and is it worth it? So just ruminate on that a little bit longer before you make your decision, and honestly see how your decision or your actions will affect the other person. Would it make them feel uncomfortable? Would it, ruin the friendship? Maybe you care about them so much, but they really like the friendship, and, making a move on them would unfortunately ruin the friendship because they value it so much. So you want to really think about this from the other person's perspective and how that might affect them in the long run, because that's going to be your way out. That's going to be like the gateway to enlightenment, so that you can get all the answers you need in this complex web of decision making processes. In terms of the external environment, you have here the Temperance card. You're dealing with somebody who's very, very emotionally controlled, okay? So I feel that you are kind of bogged down and with a lot of things on your plate, and you're kind of like all over the place. You're kind of flip-flopping back and forth. You're kind of like rolling around, just very, very destabilized, very destabilized. The other person, on the other hand, this is your external environment, is the Temperance card, where they are very grounded, they are very wise, I would say. There's somebody who is very creative. They're mixing two things. They're definitely looking for at situations from all perspective. So I would say they are somebody who's very diplomatic. And if this is like in the field of academia, such as, chemistry class, for example, or even like in a biology lab or somebody that you work with, there's an element of pharmaceuticals that's involved here. Just be very careful because I do feel both of these cards indicate some type of medication. Temperance card and the Two of Pentacles, the Two of Coins. The Two of Coins indicates like emotional ups and downs, okay? And the person that you're dealing with doesn't have these emotional ups and downs. So this might be a situation that you want to get in, look into. Are you the one that is constantly up and down and you don't really know how to express yourself in a way where it's not one extreme versus the other? Are you so fixed in your opinion where you can't see things, from a balanced perspective? If this resonates with you, take some extra time to really look at things from the other person's perspective, okay? I know it's not fun because once you have your mind made up, you want to go ahead. You don't want to wait too long before forming your opinion and executing your plans. No one really wants to wait on that, maybe except earth signs. But I do feel the person you're dealing with is very stable, but you're not, unfortunately. So just keep this in mind, all right? Because if it were a new relationship, for example, and already if we're seeing that dynamics where two people are really, really polar opposites and you're refusing to address that up front, it's going to still create problems later. So you might want to just address it now so that you can both move forward in a more, understanding light, okay? In terms of your hopes and fears here, we do have the Nine of Coins, which is a lot of you are fearing, partnering up with somebody and not having the other person not having the funds to finance everything that is supposed to be taken on. Or a lot of you are thinking, maybe I should. I'm sensing like this is loss of freedom. If you look at this card, she's like she's got a bird. She's on a bird and she's sailing away from troubles, but this is a card of financial freedom. It's freedom to come and go as you please. It's freedom from having financial worries where your assets are growing for you. And as a result, you can come and go as you please. So there is an element of worries about not having the financial freedom. Somehow it's creeping in for this second half of the month, and I don't exactly know how. If it's like a partnership, a business partnership, you're concerned that the other person, well, you trust the other person, and you won't enter a partnership unless you trust the other person. So what I'm sensing here is just, you might be so slammed with time constraints that you might not have enough time to work, or a lot of you might be devoting way too much of your time to a significant other, which is not a bad thing, but your work is being neglected, okay? So that's another thing that you really have to open your eyes up to, okay? So the High Priestess as in the outcome position, tells me that there is something that you're that you're allowing to happen, and it's not good for you. So make sure that you don't, make sure that you are not wearing these, tinted glasses, or you're not, just make sure you're seeing everything that you're supposed to see before you make a decision, because you're showing up here as an air sign in the reverse position. In the positive manifestation, this means letting your guard down and opening yourself up to let people in. And I feel like that's what's happening for a lot of you. Because all of these cards, the Six of Cups indicates, um, it indicates childhood memories in the traditional Rider-Waite deck. It indicates a very strong soul connection. It indicates tears of joy, okay? So what I'm sensing here is you're kind of unveiling yourself. You're letting your guard down. and you're letting this person that you have a very strong soul connection with, coupled with the Lovers, come into your life. Or it can indicate to me that it's time to open your eyes up and realize that not everyone around you is out to get you. So don't have a pessimistic look at the world, and don't shield yourself up so much, okay? Or it's going to indicate that based on the situation, whatever you're dealing with, if you're not supposed to be with somebody because everyone around you is telling you not to, and you feel that you have to possibly lie to them in the future, you don't have to lie to them. You don't have to make excuses for the choices that you're making, okay? You don't have to justify your decisions to anybody but yourself. So, Aquarius, make sure you are true to yourself when you make decisions this month. Make sure you are truthful and honest to yourself. That way, you only need to justify to yourself. If you can honestly say that I am making this decision because, it's the best decision for me, rather than I'm making this decision because I want to go against the opposition, or, I'm making this decision out of an ego space. For example, like my ego is inflated and I feel like I need to make this decision because I feel invincible. So that's something that you really have to reconsider. I do feel, once again, the outcome is good. And I feel like for a lot of you, you're leaning towards the stance that you're letting your guard down. You're letting the person that you have a very strong soul connection with come into your life. And it's sort of like whatever happens will happen. We'll deal with it later, which is a really beautiful way of living in the moment. And I feel like a lot of Aquarius, you project so far ahead and you plan things like, far into the future. Not exactly planning, but you already see how things are going to happen in the future. And in this situation, you're kind of relinquishing control, and you're telling yourself that I'm just going to take this because it's a soul connection, and whatever happens, we'll deal with it later. So that is the advice here, okay? But make sure you are honest in how you arrive at that decision, okay? Because I feel like a lot of you are very, very stubborn. So you're kind of watching this, like nodding along, yes, 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 yes. And then all the advice, it's kind of like on deaf ears, I feel. So think, take some time to think. Take some time, take some time to, like, at least think about things from the other person's perspective and how your decisions affect them. Don't decide for yourself. You know what's best for them. Okay, because we're not allowed to do that for other people. Don't decide that for other people. Just think about, if I do A, how will it affect this person? If I do B, how will it affect that person? Just think on that a little bit before you make the decision. But most of you are just going to be like, oh, well, option C sounds like the best option for the other person, but you don't know that. You don't know that yet because you're not them, okay? So I know it's an interesting reading, and it's there's a lot of messages coming through, but I do hope that you have the answers that you need so that you can move forward. But I feel like the outcome is very good. Um, there's a very strong soul connection, and I feel like a lot of you have been kind of I feel like a lot of you have been kind of just shuffling, no, shoving your way through life. I feel, not that you're bullies or anything, but I feel like a lot of you have just been like very like directed, just like I need to get here to here, here to here, and you don't really stop to smell the roses, okay? So this is the month, or the next 2 weeks will be important because you want to slow down. So slow down, Aquarius. Smell the roses. Life is not about the destination, it's about the process of getting there, and it's about the journey. So take things one day at a time, but you really have to stop to look at things from another person's perspective, okay? You're not in a danger there. So it's telling me that you're in a calm environment right now. They're not going anywhere. Taking some time off to reflect a little bit longer is going to be good for you. They're not going anywhere, so don't rush this process. Don't rush it, okay? Um, I am compelled here to pull out another card for this Lover's card and see what it pertains to, because you keep getting this, so I want to just see. It seems like a very good relationship. Okay, so a lot of you might be dealing with a water sign. So once again, we have the Six of Cups, which indicates, this is possibly somebody from the past. This could possibly be a new person where you have a strong soul connection with, okay? And then you have here the Knight of Cups, which is a water sign, Sun, Moon, Rising. Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio. So I definitely feel there is a proposal in the works for you, and you're feeling very elated and ecstatic. Okay, so slow. People are not going anywhere, so take it extra slow. I will talk to you soon. Please take care of yourself. Oh, and if you'd like a private reading, contact me at temperatestar@gmail.com. My website is also available in the description box below, where you can schedule your appointment and you can view my availability. Take care of yourself. Talk to you soon.